I've been asked a lot about how to progress your atlas now that the atlas is changed, and well, this is gonna be a very short video because there just isn't too much to talk about. First of all, if you're playing trade, you can just obtain all maps through trade, and when you go to like Soul Self-Bound, or if you just don't want to buy maps, now the new atlas has at least these maps. Like you have these like red boxes. So in these boxes, one of the maps is not obtained through the 3-to-1 vendor. For example, Atoll, 3-to-1 Atoll, you know, on a vendor will either give you Iceberg or Arid Lake, but not both. So I guess the common way of progressing Atlas that I hear a lot of people recommending is just do all maps in a tier before going to the next tier. So you would first like complete all tier 2 maps before you start completing T3s. And then farm those T2s until you have obtained every single of the T3 maps. But that's quite bad because you're missing on a +2 map drops from bosses because they just downgrade to the T3. So that's just a no-go. And then we have so-called map by map strat, which would be you farm the adjacent maps to hard to obtain. So for example, in here we would be farming Atoll until we obtain both of these. We would be farming Channel until we obtain both of these. There's nothing here in T2s and nothing here in T2s. So you would just do that until you get them, and then you go for the next. And then you would be farming these T2s or the other one that has the hard to obtain. We don't know what the maps are yet. And same here. Then you would be farming this until this. You would be farming this until you get the hard to obtain here. So how you see what's the hard to obtain? When you trade the 3 maps to a vendor, it'll show you the other map. And then you just know it's the other one, right? But like I said, this is gonna be a short video because none of this really matters, because we have so many ways to obtain those hard to obtain maps. So for example, now with the 3.5, when you do Zana missions, whether they be daily missions or on a random mission when you encounter Zana on a map, when you complete the map by killing the boss, you actually get the completion bonus on that map. So that means that if you are lacking T3 maps, what you can do is you can run random T2 and random T3 maps with a lightning speed and hope for Zana missions. You can use prophecies. We don't know how much about, like we don't know much about the scarabs yet, but you could potentially use the scarabs to get those spawn, like the Zana spawns. And then when the Zana has the list of maps you can do, just try to see if the map that you don't have yet is on the list and complete it. Boom, done. Zana will still very likely sell maps. We just don't know how often now, because now we don't have the level ups. Like the Zana doesn't level up when it comes to that, so we don't know that.
Let's go in 30 minuuttia.
Thanks, Meps. So Zana will just give you a lot of maps that you might not get otherwise. Then you have the Zana random map of the same tier. Now in the patch notes, it doesn't say it's T1 to T10, but during the patch notes on 3.4 for Delve, it also didn't mention that, but it was limited to up to 10, like T10 maps. So again, if you're missing T3s, you just slap in, like you alloc your T3, slap it in the Zana with 1 chaos for the random map of the same tier, boom, done. You will eventually get them, if you do it often enough. Then Horizon and Harbinger orbs. So Horizon changes the map to a same tier, like same map of the tier, but randomizes it. So using Horizon orb on a channel will change it either to Atoll, Ramparts, or Flat Mines. Likewise, Harbinger orb just makes it a +1 tier, which is nice for like if you want to complete high tier maps, like get the like quick into like Shaper, etc. Just using Harbies, and you can skip so many map tiers. So you can get these from again Xanamod for 4 Chaos. We don't know when you unlock it, but it's probably not going to be too long in the league. Strongholds reward Horizon Orbs, and now they fixed them so that they only spawn near Elder Influence, assuming you have done the 8 initials. So when you first get the Elder Influence, you get 1 stronghold in each corner of the yellows. When you complete it, it moves into the red quadrant, and then you do all of those once, and boom, now you can you have 2 strongholds that can randomly spawn on your Atlas, but if you have Elder Influence, they will always spawn near that. That's nice. Corrupting maps. So again, we can corrupt channel, and it has a 12.5%, roughly 12.5% chance to go into a +1, and out of that, 50% to be the other map. So that's nice. So you can always do that. You can get Horizon and Harbinger Orbs from Delve as well. There's also the quest line. So when you were to complete this T2 Armory with the Shaper Influence, Sana will most likely allow you to pick a map from the same tier. So what you can do is you save that map, like that reward, until you're only missing 1 map of the tier, and then you just take that, for example. I don't think you need to do that because there's so many other ways to get the maps that you need. So in practice, there's only 3 hard to obtain maps, and they are 1 of here, 1 of here, and 1 of here. But like we mentioned, there's so many different ways to get all the, like, to change the map. Like Horizon Orb is most likely going to be your easiest bet. And then Sana missions, when you're doing like T30 maps, for example, Sana could give you a chance to do these. And it's going to be a lot easier in higher tier maps, because even though Sana gives you the Shaper versions, like for example, we're doing a T30 map, Sana could thanks Papa. Sana could give a T8 map shaped into a T13 as one of the options. But from my experience, it seems like the non-shaped maps are more common, so I don't think it's going to be hard to obtain at all. So TLDR, just rush your maps. Just do the highest map you have, and then if you drop, like, let's say that you're suddenly in T10 maps without having any of the T7s or T8s done, just fill in some bonus. But I would say try to have always a possibility for +2 drop. So when you're running a T8 map, it would be nice that the boss could always be able to drop a T10 from it. So try to like have the maximum unlocked map +2 tiers above the map that you're running. That's like ideal for the progression. And that's pretty much it. We're also working on a very, very detailed Atlas guide, which will be on POE Lab, but this is pretty much all you need for progressing your Atlas. When it comes to Shaper Orbs, you don't have to actually do the red maps at all, like the native red maps. So I'll go quickly over as well. So I'm just using this corner as an example. You can do it in any corner. But normally mapping, you eventually complete like an Elder influenced T9 map, which rewards you a Shaper Orb to shape a T4 to T9. So what you can do is you just shape a T4 map to a T9, and you could even relock the T9 so that now the shaped T4 is the highest, like the only map in T9s. And now once you obtain 3 of these, or you do the corruption for +1, you can train them up into a shaped adjacent map. So you would get a T10 Always from them. And then just by making sure that Elder Influence is in here when you run it, when you run a T10 shaped Elder Influenced Always, you get the T5 fragment. And then you shape the Always to T10. You would eventually get this, eventually this, and etc, etc. So you don't actually, if you don't want to, you don't need to do a single normal red map, and you can get all the memory fragments from that. That's pretty much it. Basically, just do maps. Use all the tools you have. If you don't, here's the list again. You also get incursion temples are amazing with sustaining maps, so that's gonna be very useful. There's probably gonna be something useful in the bestiary. We were used to able to mirror a map, for example. There's just a lot of different things you can do. Have fun.